previous question is 3-2 in-out burger order service by Nuttown Spooks. Like, link to the video will be the description below. Go and check them out. So let's get into this question in 3, 2, 1.
Last year, I went to California for the first time. I'm from out east, so when I got there, I was very excited to try In-N-Out Burger for the first time.
In-N-Out?
In fact, this was one of my first plans to do during the trip. I had always heard about it and seen other people get it, and I figured it must be pretty good. I flew in and arrived at my hotel at night. I don't remember the exact time, but it was pretty late. I was hungry from the long day of travel and looked up if there was an In-N-Out nearby. There was one less than a mile away. I did not have any means of transportation, but luckily, it was within walking distance and they were still open. I got excited and I left my hotel to walk to In-N-Out. The entire walk would take maybe 10 minutes. I just had to go a few blocks in one direction and then a couple more in another. My hotel was by several other businesses. At last, I saw the In-N-Out in the distance. When I got inside, the place was not very busy at all. In fact, there was nobody ordering at the counter. Probably because of how late it was. I noticed just one other person in the restaurant, a man who was sitting by himself in the corner. I got up to the counter and ordered. I got a burger with animal fries, and as I waited, I looked around. To be honest, when I looked at the man in the corner, he came across as a little sketchy to me. Maybe that was just because it was really late, and he was
That is a little creepy. Yeah.
Was sitting by himself in the corner, seemingly just staring in my direction. He wasn't eating anything. After I got my food, I turned and left to go back to my hotel and eat it. I was really hungry. I walked past the guy in the corner and out the door. Almost the very instant I passed by the man, though, I noticed him getting up. I got a bad feeling, but pushed it away. I got outside, followed by the man maybe 10 seconds later. I headed down the quiet sidewalk towards my hotel. The man behind me did the same. He was maybe 20 or 30 feet back. As I walked, I had the feeling that he was going to follow me the whole way, or maybe catch up with me and do something. I walked pretty quickly and for the hotel. The man was behind me the whole time. I could tell this by hearing his footsteps. When I had to turn, I was really hoping to see the guy keep going straight. However, he didn't. He turned at the same place that I did. Still, I tried my best to ignore it. There was no reason for this guy to want anything from me. But the closer I got to the hotel with him still behind me, the more nervous I became. I just wanted to make it back okay. The guy didn't really seem like he was getting any closer or further away from me, though. Maybe he was staying in the same hotel that I was. Who knows? When I made it back to the hotel parking lot, I decided to walk around it for a minute before going inside, kind of taking an odd route. As I did this, the guy did not go straight inside, but basically did everything that I did. I knew then that he had to be following me for some strange reason. When I was turning, I got a little better of a look at the guy. I couldn't see much of his face because he was wearing a hat though. Then I entered the hotel. I started going back to my room, which was on the ground level. The man followed me inside, and I realized that I shouldn't go straight to my room. I did not want the guy to follow me inside, and I didn't want him to know what room I was staying in either. I turned the corner to the hallway and went the opposite direction of my room. Then I went to the stairs. The guy was like 15 feet behind me now and a little closer than before. When I got to the staircase, I immediately started sprinting up the stairs as fast as I could. I heard the door to the stairs open when I was maybe 2 flights up. I kept running and went all the way to the 4th floor. When I got there, I left the stairwell and went into the hallway. When I got into the hallway, I sprinted as fast as I could. I had some distance between the guy now, and I ran to the elevator and pressed on the button to go down. If it didn't open within a couple of seconds, I would have had to go away and keep running, but thankfully it did. I got inside the elevator and pressed my floor as fast as I could. As the door was closing, I heard footsteps quickly walking down the hallway in my direction, but it was too late for the man. When the elevator stopped at the ground level, I walked out and to my room. I made it there without the man in sight and got inside and locked the door. I remained by the door as quietly as I could, and I watched out of my peephole after that. Maybe 2 minutes later, I saw the guy walk right past my door. He didn't stop at it or anything though, so I'm certain that he didn't know which room was mine. Finally, I was able to eat In-N-Out for the first time. I didn't see that man for the rest of my trip, and I'm really glad I didn't.
That was really creepy, you know.
I used to work at an In-N-Out burger restaurant a few years ago.
Comment down below it was to try In-N-Out burger. Comment down below.
For purposes of the story, I will mention that I'm a female. I live in California, and In-N-Out is a popular fast food burger chain in that area. In my 1 year of working there, I encountered my share of odd people, but one day in particular really stands out. I would even call it a horror story. So I was working an earlier shift. I started at open and I got out sometime in the afternoon. I'm pretty sure it was a weekend, like maybe a Saturday, so we were really busy. I mean, we were always pretty busy no matter what day it was, but this one was especially busy. There were usually a good number of us working at a time, so things would go pretty quickly and the line of customers would move fast. I was taking orders behind the counter and dealing with person after person. I will never forget this one man walked up, and I asked to take his order. Instead of ordering one of the 3 things that we had on the menu, he starts hitting on me. He's like telling me stuff that's not appropriate for work, and I was not interested in him in the slightest. I was polite, but I told the man that I could only help him with his order. Then he said something like, "Oh, I see how it is." He laughed a little and then just walked out. I was kind of surprised, but I had more customers to help. The next person in line walked up, and I took their order. I worked for probably 3 more hours, taking orders, and we were busy for the entire time. Inside, most of our booths and tables were taken up, and the line remained long. Finally, I got off. I think it was like 4 or 5 p.m. I was happy to leave the mad rush and go home. I got inside my car in the parking lot. I parked in the back of the lot, and I remember seeing a car pulling into the space next to mine. When I casually looked over, I saw the guy again, the man who I had spoken to earlier. He looked right at me and then opened his door. He stepped out and then started knocking on my front passenger side window. I just started backing out. I wasn't on the clock anymore, and I did not have to talk to this guy. He looked surprised when seeing me drive away. Then he quickly got back inside his car, which was still running, and started backing up. This is not what I wanted to see. I exited the parking lot and merged onto the road, with the guy in his SUV behind me. I knew what to do, and I drove slowly to the police station. I knew where it was because I passed it every day on my drive to work. It was maybe 3 minutes from my house. The guy was behind me the whole time until I got there. When I drove into the parking lot, he did as well. I did not expect that. I had expected him to realize where I was going and then keep driving on down the street. Then I could just turn around and leave. Instead, I parked and was about to get out of my car and walk inside. At last, the guy must have realized where we were, and he backed up out of his space and left. I considered going inside and making a police report, but overall, it didn't really seem that serious to me at the time, and I chose to just drive home. I had maybe a couple of more minutes before I would arrive back. When I got back onto a main road, I noticed the same car parked on the side up ahead. This was less than a mile from the police station. However, I drove right past his SUV, and he didn't follow me. I cringed when passing because I expected him to pull out behind me. He must not have noticed. It was sort of busy, and there was a decent amount of traffic. Plus, my car was fairly common. Either way, I'm really glad that he didn't see me and follow me home. And I never saw the guy again after that.
Wow.
My scariest experience.
Comment down below if you want to see more scary reactions. Comment down below and drop a like.
Going to In-N-Out happened like a week and a half ago. I live out west, so I've been around In-N-Outs my whole life. It's one of my favorite burger places, and I get it all the time. I live in an apartment in a sort of city area.
My favorite burger place is Whataburger. Yeah. Comment down below what's your favorite burger place. Comment down below.
What I mean by that is there are lots of buildings and businesses close by. I do have a car, but I like the fact that I can walk to many places from my apartment.
Yeah.
On this night in particular, I was hanging out with my friend Jess. We've been best friends since probably 2nd grade. We walked to the In-N-Out near my place, which was pretty busy. We were sitting in a booth eating, and right out of nowhere, a man approached us and stood right next to me. He faced me and asked us how we were doing. Then he started talking to us both. He was tall and had sort of long blonde hair. I was kind of confused as to why he was talking to us. He didn't work at In-N-Out, and he just seemed like a random guy. He asked where we were from and our names. I thought maybe he was going to try to sell us something. He asked us our jobs and if we went to school. Of course, we told him just bland answers, and we didn't want to go into detail because we didn't know the guy. Finally, I interrupted him, and I asked what it was exactly that he wanted. He stopped talking and then just slowly said, "Nothing." Then he turned around and walked out of the crowded restaurant. That was a pretty strange conversation, but I was glad that it was over. After the man left, I didn't see him for the rest of the day. In fact, I forgot all about him. Fast forward about a week. When I got home one day, I had a strange envelope in the mail. I opened it up to find a really odd letter that was written by who I'm assuming is the same guy. It was a really weird and threatening letter. It said how he knew who I was and where I lived, and that he knew everything about me. He said that I better be aware of my surroundings because he could do whatever he wanted. Why he chose to write this to me, I have no idea. Since that happened, in the next few days that followed, there were some more strange occurrences. The first was a knock at my apartment door, and when I went to look, nobody was there. The next day, I got a call from an unknown number. I didn't answer it, but I have a feeling that it was connected. Sure, both of these things may have not been involved at all, but I couldn't help but wonder. Now, I'm not sure what to do. I'm thinking of going to the police with the letter, but I'm not sure what can be done about it. I also don't know why this guy chose to do this to me. I will let you know if anything else strange happens.
Wow. Wow, wow. That was a lot. Yeah. Wow. That was 3-2 in a burger order service with Swanson by Night Time Spooks. And link to the video will be the description below. Go and check them out. You drop a like if you like. And comment down below if you want to see more reaction like this one. And subscribe if you're new. And click the button if you know for me upload in the Bye.